There you go.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Will King. I got 8th place today at the Bainbridge Regional playing Ishizu Tearlaments. Tier 0 deck's the best deck by a long shot. I went 5-2. My matchups, I played 5 Ishizu Tearlament mirror matches, and then I played 2 Exo Sisters. My 2 losses were the mirror match. I felt like I played the deck pretty well. I did misplay in a couple of points. I could have played better. I could have tested a little bit more. I really do think that like a lot of the reason that I was losing the mirror match came down to bad deck building choices and bad side deck choices. I'll go over some of those throughout the profile and like just give like my first takes of the deck and how it played today. So the main deck for the tier monsters, we played 2 Rhino Hearts, 3 Shirens, 3 Havinus, and 3 Merly. So we've seen people like kind of go down to 2 Rhino Heart as like the deck has progressed a little bit. I think that 2 Rhino Heart is fine. I do think that Rhino Heart is the best one to be milled, which is why I've kind of bounced between 2 and 3, because like Rhino Heart is the one that can't be hit by a bestial monster and it puts a level 4 on the field. That is a water that just helps facilitate a Abyss Dweller. The rest of the other names are standard. I've seen some people go down to 2 Merly, but I think that Merly, like, because a lot of the times you never want to activate Merly's effect when she gets sent to the graveyard. You only ever want to activate her effect towards end combo when you send her off of Sprined. But then again, like, you just want to have that extra level 2 to like turbo out onto the field with Kikalos. So you can get into the Sprine play, you can get into an Elf play, and be able to use her for that. So that was it for the tier monsters. The Ishizu cards, the most busted part of this deck.
Let's go.
We played triple Keldo, triple Medora, max out on the shufflers because you always want to mill these cards. It the more of these that you have in your graveyard in the mirror match, the more that you just win outright. These cards are insane. These cards facilitate pure Lano pops. And then we played triple Kelbeck. So Kelbeck and then 1 YuGiOh. So I played 1 YuGiOh. To be honest with you, I feel like 2 would probably be the correct number of YuGiOh, because YuGiOh's hand effect is actually like just like a really powerful effect, being able to like instantly put on board himself and another 4 to be able to make like a Baguska or a Dweller. And especially going second, against a lot of the boards these days, you can just go like YuGiOh effect summon and then make Baguska in defense position, and you just automatically have an out to a lot of the things that are on the board. I did make Baguska in attack position a couple of times today just to play around a Sully, because like I would have like Bestials or I would have like Havnesses to interrupt their plays, so where they would just basically end on Sully, Elf, and Merly. So the only thing that I'm not really playing around at that point is the Sully. So if I just make Baguska an attack, it can't be targeted, and it basically cracks the entire board because you can send the Merly, like attack over the Merly. Kelbeck is just kind of like the end theme hand traps. Cards crack because you can use like the mill effects of YuGiOh, the mill effects of Kelbeck, have another one of these in hand, mill their cards, then go Kelbeck effect, target special summon monster, bounce it back. This card ended up hurting me a lot today, like in the mirror match, because of bad deck building choices, and I'll show that in just a minute. But one thing, I would probably bump YuGiOh up to 2. I've even thought about playing 3, but this is just what I ran with for today, and it worked pretty well. But I just felt like YuGiOh would be at a higher number would be better. And then we played the triple Orange Light. This card is absolutely insane. This card stops Dweller, and then 1 Diviner. I thought about going up to 2 Diviner, but I think Diviner at 1 is just fine. It facilitates Baron plays, but also like you can just use Orange Lights to also facilitate Baron plays sometimes, using like Orange Light Rukalos to go into it. But Orange Light, I've seen people who aren't running Orange Light, and I just do not understand, because this card is absolutely insane. Like having the out for Dweller is just so important. And also like today I played against 2 Exo Sisters, and Exo Sister is just like flu. They always have Shifter, and when you can Orange Light a Shifter, it's pretty much like go Orange Light pitch Kelbeck on a Shifter. It's pretty much game at that point. So that was it for the fairies. The Bestials, I had this really stupid theory that I will not do ever again. So the theory was that we play no Magnamint, so we don't mill Magnamint, so our opponent can't go dark, take our Magnamint, and then get their Bestial engine started. It was a really bad idea. I don't know what I was thinking. It wasn't the correct play line. I should have played basically 2 Juris Worm and 3 Magnamint. Either way around, like I saw my Bestials enough at this rate that like it was good enough for it to be effective. I still do think that Druisworm is, like on field is the best one, but if I would have had Magnamets, just to have like, because it just basically turns one Bestial into two, it would have been better. It was a bad theory that I had, but it still didn't punish me too hard. So that's it for the monsters. The spells, triple field spells, triple Scream, triple Talent, then the God cards, the Instant Fusion, Terraforming, and then I played one Heartbeat to have an extra out to mine. So this is standard almost at this point where everybody's playing the singular copy of Heartbeat. I've seen people go down to 2 Scream, and after the event, I've started to believe that that's partially correct because I only played 2 traps. So once you have one of these on field in rotation, you pretty much don't need another one. You're basically just milling to try and get access to Selig and Crime. The effect of Scream that modulates attack points is actually like really relevant because it gives you that like extra 1,000-point attack point differential with Tearlament and Scream on the field. I main deck Talents. This card was crazy all day long. I'm glad that I main decked it, but at the same time, I do want to get this list down to 40 cards at some point. But I think that Talents is just so ultra powerful in the mirror match right now that you kind of have to play Talents. Also, Heartbeat. I think that Heartbeat is a really like just a really good card as far as like back row removal, because like you'll see when we get to the side deck that I didn't like play Cosmic Cyclones, I didn't play Feather Dusters, I didn't play Lightning Storms. I just side decked the other 2 copies of Heartbeat because I wanted spell or trap removal that also facilitated my engine, and this card is just absolutely insane because it sends any card from your hand, not just like tier monster, tier spells, tier trap. It literally sends any card from your hand, so you can proc YuGiOhs and Kelbecks off of that. You can also get Shufflers into the graveyard off of this. So I thought that card at 1 was just really good. And then the traps, as I mentioned, I play 1 and 1 Crime, or 1 Selig, 1 Crime. I've thought about playing double Selig just so if I mill 1, I can still have 1 in the deck, and then I can like get good value off of the card. But I think that 1 and 1 is correct because I don't want to really open Selig. I always want to search it. That was it for the main deck. The extra deck, tokens, 1 Kit, 1 Rukalos, 1 Kaleido. These were the tier monsters. You only play 1 Kit, don't play more than 1 Kit. I was Cherry. I got hit with Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries 1 time on the Kit Kalos, and it was fine because I just proceeded to go Mudoras and Kelbeck, and then I hit the Crime, added the Kit Kalos back, and then it immediately turns these 2 cards back on. But yeah, like don't ever play this card at more than 1. But the rest of that is standard. And then the Mud Dragon, this card is crazy in the mirror match. Summoning itself out, calling Dart, and then you can prevent so many cards from activating. You can stop Tearlament's, you can stop Seligs, you can stop Kit Kalos from targeting itself. This card is absolutely insane. It is inherently, it's a water when it's summoned. So it gives Dweller the attack boost and it's a level 4. This was the bad decision making of the day. Was the Dark Law. I side decked 3 copies of Mass Change 2. That card is horrible. Do not play that card. The Bestials are 2,500 attack, which literally they put a Bestial on the field and they automatically have the out for this card by just going to battle phase. Do not play this card. Also, in the final round, the guy that I was playing against, I went Shiren Effect, pitch Merly, and then Shiren Effect, pitch Merly. He said that was fine. I chain Mass Change 2, discard Kelbeck, and then send the Shiren, make Dark Law. I go Merly Effect, Chainlink 1, Kelbeck Effect, Chainlink 2. I mill, I completely whiff 8 cards, straight off the top. And then as soon as I go, because it's basically in combo with like a YuGiOh Kelbeck is just a Necroface. But when I go mill 5, he just goes Kelbeck Effect, target Dark Law, and then shuffles my Dark Law back into the extra deck, and I completely lost the game from that point because I whiffed on my mills, and I had no recovery. He had the Bestial for my Merly that could activate, and it was just not a good sign. We played Garura. This card is insane. This card on top of Pirolino is crazy. Because like this does 4,000 damage direct with Pirolino on the field, but also just the draw effect is really good. It's generic. Dragostapelia. I made this card a couple of times today. This card's really mid, but I feel like you kind of have to play it because it's just like a good synchro that like shuffles these back into the deck. So that was really good. For the XZs, we played one Redoer, one Dweller, one Baguska, and one Zeus. Redoer, I actually do like Redoer as a card. I think that Redoer is still like kind of mandatory in this deck because like there are times that you can just like completely whiff off of your mills and just have 2 4s and it's not in the mirror match and you can make Redoer and it's just powerful. This is a god card. This card needs to be banned. Baguska. Baguska was really, really good today. So with Baguska, like a lot of people like, so I made this card in attack position more than I put it in defense position today just because like the targeting protection is really powerful. And then you can just go to battle phase, attack over to something, and then immediately go into a Zeus and then have like a field wipe. So, but me personally, I don't think that Zeus is very good right now because you're only playing Ishizu mirror matches. So like you're really like I don't feel like that Zeus is that powerful because like you're sending your own cards, but you're also sending theirs, so you're getting like mass value. And Zeus, like it's fine alongside a Dweller, but I just don't think that it's very worth it. And then for the links, we played Shrined, Elf, and Dark. Completely mandatory. This and Scattershot. I won 2 matches off of that today. Sorry to my opponents.
Let's go.
And then we played 1 copy of Baron. Shout out my buddy Hector behind the camera for letting me borrow his Baron for the event. That card is crazy in this deck list because like in a simplified game state, being able to make Baron is just so insanely powerful. And like because you get a negation, you get a pop, and then you can just turn itself back into something that's in your graveyard, to like say a Merly effect on summon, mill 3, go back into fusion summoning. But yeah, Dark, this card's insane. I love this card to death. But that was it for the extra deck. There would be a couple of things I would change, but I haven't really like figured out the cards that I would play in place of Zeus and what was it? Yeah, just the Zeus. I would have to figure, and Dark Law, we would have 2 extra spaces in the extra deck for that, so I would have to look into something we could play there. The side deck. So I side deck 3 cherries. I sided this card in all day long and I never saw it. I feel like if I did see it sometimes over other cards, it would have been really powerful. But I just sided in a lot and I never saw it. Scattershot. Time rules suck, but Konami gives Prince cards like Sprine that just say send any level 2 monster from your deck to the graveyard. So if they want to facilitate basically burn cards to win in time, you have to take advantage of it. You have to play it. That's just the way that it goes. So we played Scattershot. I didn't play Dogwood because I just didn't feel like it was that powerful of a card going into time. Like especially like going second, because a lot of the times, like if they like it happened to one of the other guys that I had played, he went Dogwood and then the guy just passed and just willingly took a draw. So and this was the worst card in the side deck all day long. So the reason the Mass Change 2 is so bad in this deck is that like this deck has a lot of gas, but at the same time this deck needs its hand to be gassed out. The best things that you can mill off of this or like discard off of this are gonna be your YuGiOhs and Kelbecks. And I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of this card because I think it's very neg, and I think it doesn't do anything that's more powerful than Dweller. So I will most definitely be taking those out. And then we played 3 copies of Dark Ruler. Dark Ruler was fine. I think I saw it like 2 or 3 times today. And it was okay then. I just felt like this was the better breaker that I could have been playing. Yeah, and then the best card in the side deck was 3 copies of Dark Hole. I played 2 Exo Sisters, and you activate Dark Hole and you pretty much immediately win the game. You can do like the cheeky shit with this where you like set a Havanus, set a Merly, set a Shiren, and then just go Dark Hole. The Magnifica, they can do all the little fancy plays that they want to with that, but they're still not getting around the fact that I'm about to clear their field. So this card was really powerful. It's not very good into the mirror match, but anything like Flu, Exosister, and if you can get the read on like Sprite decks, if they're not playing the swap toads, then it's really good into Sprite in that sense as well. And then the last two are the 2 heartbeats, like I talked about. I wanted in-engine outs to Floodgates and to like the Flandres map and Dreaming Towns. And this was the one that outed a Floodgate at the same time as advancing my game state before the main phase. So this card was really powerful, and I like this card a lot. So that was the list that I played today. Like I said, there are changes that I want to make to this, and it'll happen over time. I just have to figure out what works for me best. But yeah, so that was the deck list. Appreciate y'all. Shout outs one more time for Hector because they let me borrow his Baron. Shout out to Cannon for letting me borrow some cards.
PPP loan.
Shout out to Tyler. Tyler played Sword Soul today, and he was able to dark lock people with Chow Fang by playing a special little Yang Zing card that he was very happy about. Shout out to Steven. He played Sprites today. He did good. So shout out to those for people who helped me test. Shout out to everybody at the shop. Shout out to Clop. Let's see, do I have anybody else that I need to throw in there? Anybody else? Am I missing shout outs?
Kendall.
Shout out to Kendall for also letting me use the Baron because her and Hector are one.
Nikki.
Shout out to Nikki for coming along on the trip and for being married to Steven. But yeah. So like I said, that was the list. I'll probably post an updated deck list of this after I like get more playtesting time with it and I get more time with the actual deck to see what I like. This was kind of like a preliminary day at the regionals. We did good. But I feel like there were a lot better cards that we could have played, and we could have done more testing, and we could have made better choices with our deck building. But yeah, so that was the video.